Y'all do me a favor. If you're able to stand, go ahead and stand. Y'all looking good in that red and green and purple and you know what I'm saying? Whatever y'all chose to wear, y'all looking good. Absolutely fabulous. I need y'all to do me a favor. We're going to end this year strong, family. This is December 14th. We have 2 more services after tonight before we go into 2025. When 2024 crazy, man, I can't believe that we are already at a new year. And we're going to end this year strong. And so I need y'all to do me a favor, and I'm for real. We're going to have 2 services on the 21st and the 28th that you can't afford to miss. Here's why. Because we're going to give you the opportunity to leave behind in 2024 any struggle, any stress, any addiction, any habit, anything that you need to leave in 2024 so that 2025 has the opportunity to be your best year yet. We're going to give you the opportunity next week to praise on that thing, because the word says God inhabits the praises of his people. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to help you identify what that one thing is. And we're going to have a place for you to put that, and we're going to praise about it, and we're going to get God's presence, because we don't wait till he delivers us to thank him for what we believe he's going to do. And then the last service of the year, that same thing that is hindering us, that is holding us back, holding us down, we're going to pray on it, and we're going to have a massive altar call at the end of my message on December 28th. And we are going to launch. This in hyperbolic language. I'm praying that we launch into 2025. Not walk into, not step into. I want to launch in it. I want God to start my year off miraculously. And so I'm asking you to make sure you're here with me, if you're able to be here with me, because we're going to make sure we do our part to maximize God's potential and plan in our lives in 2025. Is there anybody besides myself that's looking for God to do something special and unique in my life, in my family's life, in my business's life, in my ministry's life? In 2025, I need you here. Let's go ahead and do the vision. We're going to just do the vision tonight, because I want to go ahead and get into this discussion on 3. 1, 2, 3. To cultivate generations of leaders, diverse in age, ethnicity, and background, driven by faith and divine purpose, who transform our culture and community with the message and mannerisms of the kingdom. Before you have a seat, I need you to help me teach tonight. And I need you to tell 3 people you didn't come with, don't panic. God is with you. Don't panic. God is with you. Don't panic. You do silly stuff when you panic. God is with you. If there is anyone that watches any type of sports channel, whether it's on YouTube, whether it's the old-fashioned way on television, ESPN, Fox Sports News, you'll see pundits and commentators arguing about if it's game 7 and the series is tied 3-3, and this is for the championship, this is for all the marbles. Everybody say all the marbles. And you're down by 1, In the NBA championship, the series is tied 3-3. There's only 7 games, so this is the last game of the season. There'll be only one team left standing, holding the championship trophy, and your team is down by 1. Who's taking the last shot? Most, if you got common sense, and we all know common sense ain't common, but everybody with common sense know it's MJ taking the last shot. But if you're a little bit younger, you may say LeBron. And if you're from LA, you don't deal with common sense. It's Kobe over everything all the time. And so people argue about who's going to take that last shot when everything you worked for is on the line. Well, the king of Judah, Ahaz, is in a game 7, down by 1 situation. And he is struggling with, who do I give the ball to? Do I trust God in the midst of my pain, trial, tribulation? Or do I panic under pressure and give the ball to somebody else? King Ahaz is the king of Judah. The king of Judah. Israel has recently split. Israel used to be one kingdom, but after King Solomon's son, Rehoboam, refused to loosen the tax that his father Solomon had laid on the country, the citizens go through a civil war and the nation of Israel split. So now the one nation has become 2. Everybody say 2 nations. There is the northern nations that encompasses 10 of the 12 tribes of Israel. And then there's the southern tribes, or southern kingdom, that encompasses 2 of the tribes out of the 12, Benjamin and Judah. So here's the context. King Ahaz is the king of the southern kingdoms. Everybody say 2 tribes. Now, both northern and southern kingdoms have had kings that are faithful and unfaithful. But most believe that it is the southern tribes that have more of the favor of God, because it is through the southern tribes that the Davidic line of kings that eventually gives birth to Jesus is in. And they still have the capital of Jerusalem where they still worship God. So King Ahaz has a problem on his hands because the northern tribes have decided to partner with Syria and come against King Ahaz. And King Ahaz is starting to panic under pressure, because he's only 2 tribes and the northern has 10. Not only that, they have decided to partner because they have a political plan to overthrow Ahaz and put somebody on their team in charge. So King Ahaz is in a weakened position. I've got an interesting interrogative for you. Have you ever been in a weakened position? Chosen is a safe place. I know we got a lot of first-time people kicking it with us tonight. So glad that you're here. This isn't a rhetorical question. Have you ever been in a situation that you wanted to get out of, but you didn't have the money to do it? Have you ever been in a relational situation that was causing you pain, and you had prayed about this relationship for years, yet the more you prayed, seemingly the worse it got? Have you ever been in a situation where you were sick, or somebody that you loved was sick, and you didn't have the money to pay the health care bill, and they were denying your claims, and you didn't want the person that you loved to die, but if you didn't get the help that you needed, you didn't think that they were going to live much longer? Have you ever been in a weakened situation? King Ahaz was weak. He had weak military. He had weak political power. And he was starting to panic, like many of us have. But Isaiah, who was the prophet during King Ahaz's reign, gives some good advice that I want to give you in Isaiah 7:3. It says, "Then the Lord said to Isaiah, take your son, Shear-Jashub, and go out to meet King Ahaz. You will find him at the end of the aqueduct that feeds water into the upper pool, near the road leading to the field where cloth is washed." Everybody read verse 4 with me on 3. 1, 2, 3. Tell him. Woo! Listen, if I don't say nothing else, if I decide to get down and let y'all hit Chick-fil-A early, I already preached enough. Because some of y'all think that y'all came out to play that Cahoots game, and some of y'all came out because you heard we were giving free Chick-fil-A gift cards to every first-time visitor. We hustled you. I came to tell you. No, let me try this side. My little sister on this side. You panicking under pressure. And you about to make a bad decision. You have more month than money because you weak financially. The people who are closest to you, you realize are not trustworthy, and you're weak relationally. The vision that God has given you for your life, you don't have the popularity, the power, or the prominence to bring it to fruition, and you're struggling with God's purpose and plan for your life. I came with good news tonight. I came to tell you, stop worrying. King Ahaz is troubled, like many of us are, because we're in a situation that's bigger than us. And I'm here to tell you that sometimes God will allow us to be in situations bigger than we are, to see if we trust that he's bigger than we are. Because sometimes it's hard to know the power of God until your power is limited. Sometimes it's hard to know that God is a provider when you have everything that you need. Sometimes it's hard to believe that God will never leave or forsake you when you're the most popular person in the room. Sometimes he's got to move some people out of your life to really help you to see how close he really is. Sometimes it's the problem that highlights God's power. Here it is. Tell him to stop worrying. I can't move. Because it says, verse 4 continued, tell him he doesn't need to fear the fierce anger of those two burned out embers, King Rezin of Syria and Pekah, son of Remaliah. You looking at me like that because you don't understand what a burned out ember is. God is talking junk. A burned out ember is when you're at the fire pit and you've lit the fire pit and you let it sit too long without stirring the coals. Burned out ember is when something used to be on fire, but the fire has gone out. Burned out ember is when something used to have power, Nate, but it no longer has the power that it used to. So God is saying you tripping about something that doesn't have the ability to harm you like you think it does. You tripping because you think something has the power to pervert my purpose. You tripping on two burned out embers. Yeah, it used to be hot. Yeah, it used to have power. Yeah, it used to have ability. But what you don't realize is that it's burned out. Some of you are tripping over stuff that has burned out. Okay. Y'all working me tonight. It's fine. It's fine. Verse 5 says, yes, the kings of Syria and Israel are plotting against him, saying, we will attack Judah and capture it for ourselves. And we'll install the son of Tabeel as Judah's king. I love this because when God says don't worry, he's not saying that people aren't plotting and planning. Sometimes people can be so spiritual they know earthly good. People will tell you, fake it till you make it. People will tell you, I know I don't have what I need, but I'm gonna act like I no. But trusting God isn't ignoring the truth. It says, verse 6, that people are planning to attack. People are planning to replace him. People are coming for his position. People are coming for his throne. God isn't saying ignore it and act like it doesn't exist. He's just saying, don't worry, because the power that's coming against you is not greater than the power that's in you. Some of you have real stuff going on. Some of you have real issues with your children. Some of you have real issues in your career. Some of you have real issues in your marriage. Some of you have real issues in your money. Some of you have real issues in your ministry. I'm not telling you to act like they don't exist. I'm just telling you to understand that the God that is in you is more powerful than what's going on. Verse 7 says, I'm going to explain this word later, so be patient with me. It says, but this is what the sovereign Lord has said. Verse 7, this invasion, will never happen. Oh my goodness. I'm about to lose my mind. Do you know we spend so much time, Miko, worrying about stuff that God says? Do you know that sometimes we stay up all night long fearing the worst and the worst never comes? Do you know that sometimes we panic about something that God has already canceled? He says, what you worrying about? What's keeping you up at night? What's got you smoking that blunt? What's got you getting drunk all the time? What keeps you up ain't even written. It ain't gonna. For Syria, it's no stronger, y'all gotta walk with me, than what? Damascus. And Damascus is no stronger than its king. As for Israel, within 65 years, it will be crushed and completely destroyed. Verse 9, Israel is no stronger than its capital, Samaria, and Samaria is no stronger than its king, Pekah, son of Remaliah. You missed it. Take me back to verse 7. Everybody say never happened. Why won't it happen? Because Syria is no stronger than its capital, Damascus. And Damascus is no stronger than its king. Verse 9. Israel is no stronger than its capital, what? And Samaria is no stronger than its king. Let me explain why God is saying it'll never happen. I'm here to educate you, not entertain you. I need you to get this. God is saying you're paying attention to the wrong thing. He says your focus is on the power you see in that city. Your focus is on the power of the capital. The capital represents a city's infrastructure. When you go to a city, that is usually the center of its government, the center of its commerce. It represents the heart of a city. So when you hear about a powerful city, in and of itself, it can cause you to become afraid. But Isaiah says, don't worry, because the city that you see isn't the power that's behind it. That's why he says Israel's no stronger than its capital, Samaria. Go back to 9. And Samaria is no stronger than its king. In other words, don't pay attention to what you see. Focus on the spirit behind it. Oh, come on. Go back to verse 7. Go back to verse 7. I'm not going to leave it till they get it. For Syria is no stronger than its capital, Damascus, and Damascus is no stronger than King Rezin. Verse 9. Israel is no stronger than its capital, Samaria, and Samaria is no stronger than its king, Pekah, son of Remaliah. Stop focusing on what you see and start focusing on the spirit behind it. And if the spirit behind it isn't God, you don't have anything to worry about, because the city is weak because the spirit behind it is weak. The enemy can't overtake you because the spirit behind the enemy is not as strong as the spirit that is behind you. That's why we sing what we sing, your great name. Because what he's focusing him on is, do you think the spirit behind the king is more powerful than the spirit behind your king? Do you think that sometimes we focus on what we see so long, whatever you focus on gets bigger. So God is saying, don't focus on what you see. There's a spirit behind all of it, and there's no spirit stronger than my spirit. There's no power stronger than my. Can somebody give God praise tonight? I'm not focusing on what I see. I'm focusing on the spirit of power God has given me. And watch this. Thank you for your patience. I told you I'd get there. Unless your faith is firm, Miko, I can't make you stand. Oh, I know what you're thinking. Yannik, you told us that God is omnipotent, meaning all-powerful, omnipresent, everywhere at once, omniscient. He knows everything. Absolutely. But guess what? Even in God's omnipotence, there's one thing he can't do, and that is take away the power of choice. And so God is saying, if you choose to focus on your pain, if you choose to focus on your persecution, there's nothing I can do to help you up. But is there anybody that knows when you have faith, you can stand? That when you believe, you can get through. Unless your faith is firm, I can't make you stand. I can't make you believe. I can't make you pray. I can't make you worship. I can't make you come to Chosen on Saturday night. I can't make you serve. I can't make you give unless you have faith. Some of us are blaming God when the truth is, we failing because we don't have faith. That we are choosing to fall when God says all you have to do is believe. Hebrews 11:6, without faith, it is impossible to believe God. Why? Because those that believe him must believe that he exists and that he is a rewarder of those that diligently seek him. All I'm telling you, you got to do the impossible is believe. If you want to overcome the kings in your life, all you got to do is believe. If you want to overcome the haters in your life, all you got to do is believe. If you want to overcome the doubt and fear in your life, all you got to do is believe. So watch what happens. Everybody say doubt. So God is speaking through his prophet Isaiah. And God knows the heart of his king. And he knows that he's struggling with doubt. So he says to Isaiah, tell him that if he wants to stand, tell him if he wants to fight a good fight, tell him if he wants to take his pain and turn it into purpose, that all it takes is his faith. Verse 10. Later the Lord sent this message to King Ahaz. Ask the Lord your God for a sign of confirmation. Oh, this is good. Please don't miss it. Make it as difficult as you want. Mama Glad, do you see that? He says, as high as heaven is, or as deep as the place of the dead. He said, if you don't believe me, test me. Oh, okay. All right. He says, verse 12, but the king refused. Oh. God's saying, I want you to trust me. And if you don't trust me, I'm going to make it a little easier for you, Nate. Test me. In other words, what do you need to see to know that I'm God? What do you need to see to know that I can get you through this? He said, make it as hard as you want. Make it as high as the heavens or as deep as the place of the dead. And the king says no. I know you're wondering, why did he say no? Because sometimes when God is speaking, we'll ignore him because we already know what we want to do. Oh, yeah, I knew you would get quiet, but it's fine. So some of us are praying in futility because you go into God with your mind already made up. So even when God shows up with a solution, even when God shows up with an exit, even when God shows up to say, if you trust me, I can deliver you from your trouble, we ignore and turn our back on God because we already got our mind. See, this is what I'm telling my ministers in training. Shout out to all our ministers in training, because I'm teaching them in our class. We're about to license a bunch of ministers. I'm super excited about it because they're going to help us elevate what God is going to do in our church in 2025. And I'm teaching them, when you pull out a text, you got to find the thread. Because if you miss the thread, you're going to miss the part of the story that God could be using to speak to the people that you teach it. So what you would miss if you didn't understand what was happening in 2 Kings and 2 Chronicles is that doubt leads to disobedience. Because 2 Chronicles 28:16 says, at that time, King Ahaz of Judah asked the king of Assyria for help. 2 Chronicles is giving the other side of this story. So when the king Tiglath-Pileser of Assyria arrived, he attacked Ahaz instead of helping him. Oh my goodness. Let me rewind and repeat it. God says, you can have me. God said, if you don't even trust me, I'm going to show you grace and mercy. Just test me. Give me something small that I can show you I can do that will give you the faith to believe I can do something big. Ahaz says no. Why? Because he had already made up in his mind that he wanted to partner instead of trusting God. And before we beat the king up too bad, let's keep it honest. We've all had King Ahaz moments where God was trying to point us in one direction, but it was easier for us to place our trust in something we could see instead of the spirit that was speaking to us. Oh. So watch this. He partners with the king. Go back to the other verse in Chronicles. And what happens when he partners? Verse 20. You want to know what happens when we ignore God and we partner with the wrong people? Let me talk to this side. So when the king said he would partner with King Ahaz, he played him. Sometimes when you partner with the wrong people, they'll play you. Anytime we place our faith in any power outside of God, we run the risk of getting played. That's why some of y'all are frustrated in your relationships now, because God told you to wait and that he would send you somebody, but you decided to go to the club anyway, and you put on your go get 'em outfit and you got them, and then you realize, Nate, Shalonda, let me tell you how they, because I need somebody to help me pay these bills. And I got 3 kids and I love some partnership. And God said, no, I got you. I'm going to provide all your needs according to my riches and glory. I'm going to help you train up them children in the way that they should go so that when they old, they won't turn away from it. But you said, God, I can't wait on you. God, I got another plan. And you went and tried to work it out yourself, thinking you could get some help outside of God. But then what you realize is that you got played. So not only are they helping you take care of your kids, you got to take care of them. And they... When you don't want to trust God, what ends up happening is you don't escape trouble, you compound your trouble. When we don't wait on God, we bring things in our life that God never desired for us to go through. We bring trials in our life that God never desired for us to have to handle. We bring extra pain on ourselves when God said, if you would have just waited, I'd have done exceedingly, abundantly above all that you could have asked or think. If you would have waited and leaned not upon your own understanding and all your ways acknowledged me, I'd have directed your path. But because you decided to partner, you got everybody say, I'm not getting played. And it gets worse. Verse 21 says, Ahaz took valuable items from the Lord's temple, the royal palace, and from the homes of his officials, and gave them to King of Syria as a tribute. But this did not help him. Did you get that? So not only is he getting played, he's paying to get played. Because once you turn away from God, some people decide that instead of confessing their sins, because God is faithful and just to forgive you of your sins and cleanse you of all unrighteousness, we just dig in a little bit deeper. We continue to try to work that thing out in our flesh. We continue to try to figure it out instead of just admitting we made a wrong turn and submitting to God. But I'm here to tell you tonight that your God is faithful, that if we confess our sins, he will turn that thing around. If we are willing to admit we made a wrong turn, can anybody testify? He'll put you back on the right track if we'll just... So, Sam, that was my introduction. Here's the point of Here's the point of the message. Everybody say dedication. And we're going to go home. All right, then. This is verse 7, chapter 7, verse 14. The Lord himself will give you a sign. You probably didn't even know where this verse came from. Everybody say context is king. The virgin will conceive a child. She will give birth to a son and will call him Emmanuel. God is with us. Oh no, y'all, if y'all really understood what I was saying, you would have literally lost your mind. You got to ask yourself this question. Why is Isaiah quoting a prophetic passage for something that's not going to happen for hundreds of years when King Ahaz has a problem today? I'm glad you asked. The Lord himself will give you a sign. Look, everybody say look. The virgin will conceive a child. I don't want to push that too hard because some of y'all don't like to take your kids to chosen kids. But all of us adults know you can't conceive a child if you are. You remember I told you I was going to come back to that word sovereign? This is what it means. God is all powerful. So Ahaz, if you don't want to tell me a sign, I'm going to pick the sign I want to show you. And my sign is my sovereignty. What is my sovereignty? My sovereignty is my power over life. So here's what I'm going to do to show you what kind of God I am. A virgin's going to conceive. But what else is sovereignty? She will give birth to a son, but he's not going to be a normal son. We're going to call him Emmanuel, which is God with us. What is sovereignty? Sovereignty is not just God's power, but it also is God's presence. That means that whatever you're going through, God is with you in it. So, sovereignty is there's nothing happening in your life that I don't understand. There's nothing happening in your life that I'm not superintending for an ultimate good. So guess what, Ahaz? You are panicking under pressure and you partnering with people who gonna play you. But here's your sign that I'm sovereign. Here's your sign that I was gonna work it all out. I'm gonna send a son through a virgin, and that son's gonna be me. So in other words, I'm going to give you a sign in the future that should give you peace in your present. Yeah. I'm going to give you a sign in the future that should give you peace. When, Lamar? Oh, let's have church. I hope y'all didn't think Christmas was about gifts. And I hope you didn't think Christmas was about lights. And I hope you didn't think Christmas was about eggnog. You want to know what Christmas is about? You want to know why we celebrate Christmas? We celebrate Christmas because of God's sovereignty. He was telling Ahaz, you don't have a need to panic because I'm going to show you something in the future that can give you confidence in your presence. But guess what? God has showed us something in the past that can give us confidence in our present. Ahaz had to look forward to it, but we have the pleasure of looking back to it. Can anybody give God praise? Because when I celebrate Christmas, I'm not celebrating that iPhone you got me. I'm not celebrating them new J's. I'm celebrating God's sovereignty. I'm celebrating that no matter what pressure I'm under, God is present with me. I'm celebrating that God has all power in his hands and he can bring life to something that's dead. Oh my goodness. Everybody say context is king. That's why you can't rush teaching sometimes, because you send people out the room with something that they're excited about, but they don't got no depth. He says, watch what I'm going to do. I got a sign. And here's the last part. That should really make all us thugs in here and ex-drug addicts, ex and current strippers, ex and current addicts. This what should make us lose our mind. And I shouldn't have to push this point too hard, because Ahaz said, take me back to the verse where God says, test me as high as the heavens are to earth, or as deep as the... Take me back to that one, Mama Hatcher. Today. Today. Let's do it today. This is what verse is that? Is it 11? 12. There it is. Thank you, Mama Hatcher. he says, the king refused. I'm trying to help you. You don't want it. Take me back to the verse we just came from. All right, then. I'll give you the sign. Oh, you missed it. Take me back, Mama Hat. You know where it is now, so we can do it fast now. I want to help you. Listen, this ain't about Ahaz. This is about you. You got problems. You got pressure. You got pain. There's a place that you want to go that you don't have the ability to take yourself to. God is showing up saying, test me. Put your trust in me. And we say no. Let's have church, Sam. 14 says, even though you don't want a sign, verse 14 says, all right then, the Lord himself will. Oh my God, I'm about to lose my mind. He said, even when you don't want to do right, even when you deny me, even when you choose to go your own way, I'm still going to show up anyway. Can anybody give God praise that he came and got me? Yeah, you didn't earn your way into the kingdom. God came and got you. You didn't want a sign. You wanted to do things your own way. And God said, I love you enough to ignore you. I'm going to give you what you need even when you don't want it. Don't you look at me like you came to God. No, God came and got you. Some of y'all were driving around looking for your next high and you couldn't find your dealer. Why? Because God came and got you. Some of you all were. Don't you act like you found him. No, we were too stupid. We were too lustful. We were too perverted. But God said you are chosen. So even when you don't want a sign, I'm going to come give you. Even when you want to sleep around, I'm going to make it nasty to you. Even when you want to get drunk, I'm going to take that taste out your mouth. Can we? You don't want a sign, but you're too stupid to know you need it. So guess what? I'm going to send my son. For God demonstrates his love in this. When we were yet sinners, Christ died. When we were yet in the club, Christ died. When we were yet sleeping with strangers, Christ died. When we were yet addicted, Christ died. When we was yet cussing folks out, Christ. So you can go to work now and tell them you learned theology. Christmas is about celebrating God's sovereignty. What does that mean? God does whatever he wants, whenever he wants to do it, to whoever he wants to do it to. I don't have to qualify. I can't work my way. You ought to give God praise. His name is Jesus. His name is Jesus. His name is. I feel a praise coming on. Get on stage with me. Sing that. His name is Jesus. Why are we panicking? You don't got a partner with a cereal. You don't got a partner to get out. God said, I got a sign. I can bring life to whatever I want to bring life to. And if you don't think I care, I'm going to give up the luxuries of heaven for hell on earth. I'm going to give up divine privileges and be born as a slave to die on a crooked and rugged cross. His name is That's why I can't stand stuck-up saints. Because they act like they found Jesus. They act like Jesus was their idea. Matter of fact, they act like they are Jesus. But I got to remind them, everyone has sinned and fallen short of the glory. You know what everyone means in Greek? You sinned. You fell short. His name is Jesus. And we celebrate his his sovereignty. We celebrate that he loved us enough to leave eternity for earth. Philippians says that though he was God, he did not consider equality with God as something to cling to, but yet he gave up his divine privilege. He didn't have to come. We always celebrate his resurrection as if that was the greatest miracle. I don't know about that. Try giving up the company of angels for the company of sinful men. Try to give up being God and giving up your divine privileges and see how that feels. Some of us don't.
Jesus.
His name is